Let's talk about how to save hundreds of dollars a year on games with a simple fix. In the recent years, I, along with many of my friends, have been feeling the same way about gaming. If you clicked on this video, I bet you feel the same way. That is a question. Have games gotten boring? I grew up in the dawn of gaming. The early 2000s were the peak years for gaming. New ideas were on the rise and new experiences were just a game away. However, as I've gotten older, I find myself reluctant to game and getting excited for games that unfortunately flop or feel lackluster to what my expectations were. Why is this? Especially when graphics and physics engines are at an all-time high. Yet we keep getting remakes and re-releases of games that came out 20 years ago. And when we do get new games, they all feel like copies of old games. There are a few games that feel new and fresh, and far too many that feel like copies of better games. We have games that are anticipated for years, like the day before, that come out exactly how we feared them to be. Asset flips, rushed piles of trash that shut down days after launch. All while the value of the dollar falls. We are stuck in this loop searching for something to satisfy that feeling that we had at the dawn of a new game. There were times when midnight releases were a game's badge of honor, while today people are more on the fence and afraid to pre-order games because our trust has been taken advantage of and taught us to wait until a game is finished. Yet when the PS2 and original Xbox came out with games, there weren't patches to fix the hot messes and games were just ready when you got them. Today, gaming isn't a passion like it used to be. It's a fast paycheck for some developers, and games are mass-produced and pushed out way before they are ready for the consumer. Early Access is a title that is labeled on majority of games on Steam, and some have been that way for years, with promises of full releases, quote-unquote, soon. There are some games that could be sold as finished, but the developers that are truly passionate about their project continue to work tirelessly for their dream of a game to be on top, just to get squashed by a AAA developer. Games like Ready or Not, Zero Hour, and Ground Branch are a few of my favorite early access games that deserve more attention because they capture a realism that Call of Duty couldn't. Because COD is the same game yearly, these games add a level of realism in mechanics, physics, and grit that COD couldn't. And they're small developers with a passion to make games that people want to play. The thing I've seen happen over the years is less innovation and more security. Games don't change because the community doesn't want change. We get stuck in a loop of familiarity. Madden, Call of Duty, Battlefield, and Forza games are all games that have not innovated drastically over 2 decades, and they still sell like hotcakes, lacking in story and drama today where they excelled in the past. Battlefield is now a shadow of its former self, with things like destruction are a thing of the past. Call of Duty no longer has stories that sell the game, and it's now a paid free-to-play game. When they do make changes, they're for the worse. Before playing the new Call of Duty, you have to agree to a contract stating you won't use offensive language, yet some of the fun is trolling. The competitive drive of some gamers and even some content creators thrive on the rage of others. Today, politics is a vine that creeps into every nook of entertainment and changes the very things that make us people, limiting our choices of expression. When I used to play Call of Duty, I knew that joining a game warranted speech that would offend me, yet I still chose to play. I could mute someone or argue back. Those are my choices. Now, people are skating around the bush. However, that's an issue for another video. Today, the topic of how we're being sold reskins of older games at higher prices and told that it's new so it's better. How could we make games something we look forward to again? Well, by speaking with our wallets. It's not a new call to action. It's been a topic for many years, and yet we're still spending money hoping for change. I no longer buy games for this reason, as well as things like Game Pass being a thing. Why spend $30 to $70 for a game when I may or may not like it, and they may not have replay value? Game demos were a great way to experience a game and earn our money. Today we have embargoes on reviews to prevent people from knowing if a game is worth our money, and little to no clear representation of what a game is supposed to be. So how do we save hundreds of our hard-earned dollars a year on games? Simple fix: don't buy them. Wait for reviews, updates, sales, and even Game Pass or one of PlayStation Plus's variants. With new games coming in floods every year, $70 a game adds up fast. And when a game isn't finished yet, why spend it? You shouldn't spend money on a car that doesn't drive yet. Why buy the chassis from the factory and wait for parts to be shipped one piece at a time until it operates properly? I don't want places to shut down. I just expect that if I spend hard-earned money on something, it works properly and as advertised. We buy things on Amazon daily and return them if they're not up to expectations. But on services like Xbox and PlayStation, we don't have a return option like Steam does. I will say 2 hours isn't long enough. However, it's better than no option. Games like The Day Before are a perfect example of why 2 hours isn't long enough. Cause for some players it takes that long to reach the full experience, due to server issues and game bugs that require a restart of the game. I believe if games are going to rise in price, then the quality should follow and not remain stagnant. I know some are going to defend the corporation and say that it's okay for games to be broken. That's your choice, your money. But as for me, I'm choosing to save what I can, because not every mistake is worth my frustration. I'll leave that to those who fell for the cash grab. If you made it this far in the video, I hope you enjoyed the video and would consider giving me a like and subscribe. Leave comments too, spark conversation, and be respectful. Peace, love, homies.